Hello there everyone, and welcome to your weekly MTA plan work video for the Queens Subways and Long Island Railroad for the weekend of Friday, January 4th, 2019, and lasting until Monday, January 7th, 2019. As the new year approaches, we have many headaches that we must talk about this week, including a special Long Island Railroad ending for those expecting information about the Long Island Railroad, with an important schedule change taking place on Monday, January 7th, 2019. This will also be the usual Amtrak headaches that millions of Long Island Railroad customers are used to dealing with. So with that out of the way, we'll get to that at the end of the video. But let's start off with our Queens Subways. What's the first plan work we have to talk about? Well, nothing on the Long Island Railroad as of yet. That's good news. But again, there's information at the end of the video, so I encourage you all to check that out. Now, we need to talk about the 7. January 5th through the 7th, 12:15 a.m. Saturday to 4:30 a.m. on Monday. Free shuttle buses in the EFN, W, and Times Square 42nd Street shuttle trains will replace 7 service between 34th Street, Hudson Yards, and Queensboro Plaza because of track maintenance. 7 service will run between Flushing Main Street and Queensboro Plaza. You can use the EFN or W service between Manhattan and Queens. Transfer at Queensboro Plaza for the N or the W train, or Jackson Heights Roosevelt Avenue for the E and the F. Free shuttle buses will run along 2 routes, between Hudson Yards and Times Square, and between Queensboro Plaza and Verdon Boulevard, Jackson Avenue. No, W trains will run days and evenings. 42nd Street shuttle will run overnight. So I'll remind everybody again at the end of this video. I figured it would be appropriate to do that. So I need to get to about the W train, which is excellent news. We need the extra service this weekend. January 5th, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Saturday. And January 6th, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Sunday. Special weekend W service will run between Whitehall Street and Astoria Ditmars Boulevard. How about the N? January 4th through the 6th, Friday to Sunday, 11:45 p.m. to 7 a.m. Uptown N trains will skip Prince Street, 8th Street, 23rd Street, and 28th Street in Manhattan because of station maintenance. Same scenario with downtown trains, but this will take place from 9:45 p.m. Sunday to 5 a.m. Monday, which is January 6th and 7th. Station maintenance will also be taking place at the same stations. January 4th to the 7th, 9:45 p.m. Friday to 5 a.m. Monday. Coney Island bound N trains will skip 30th and 36th Avenue because of station enhancements. To complete your trip, transfer to an uptown train at Queensboro Plaza. I didn't mention that in the presentation, but I figured that's the easiest solution I can come up with. No M service this weekend. January 4th through the 7th, which again, this is the same thing that's been going on since December, 9:45 p.m. Friday to 5 a.m. Monday. Free shuttle buses in the J will replace M trains because of track replacement. M service is suspended. Free shuttle buses will run all weekend between Metropolitan Avenue and Middle Village and Myrtle Avenue and Bushwick all weekend. For service between Myrtle Avenue and the Lancet Exit Street, take the J train. Good news is, there's some minor affected service on the R. The line will not be affected in Queens, but this is also about station rehab. January 6, 9:45 p.m. to 11:45 p.m. Sunday. Downtown R trains will skip 28th, 23rd, 8th Streets and Prince Street because of station maintenance. But I'm also going to urge everybody now, if you are using the 7, you absolutely need service to Times Square 42nd Street this weekend. The R is another alternative, so please remember that. Will the E run this weekend? Well, yes it will, but here's the catch. January 4th for the 7th, 9:45 p.m. Friday to 5 a.m. Monday. Downtown E trains will skip 23rd and Spring Street because of track maintenance. January 5th for the 7th, 12:01 a.m. Saturday to 5 a.m. Monday. E trains will make local stops in both directions to 65th Street North and Boulevard, 46th Street, Stanway Street, and 36th Street because of signal modernization. One more note. To complete your trip to 23rd Street and Spring Street, you can transfer to an Uptown train at 14th Street. Or I want to make sure I got my information correctly because I am looking it up on the phone. I'm doing a little bit of a cheat. If you need any service to Spring Street this weekend, I also encourage you to transfer to an Uptown train. I'm just confirming it right now on my map. So I don't want to give the wrong information. Somebody says, oh, you comment. Bad comment. You can transfer to an Uptown train at Canal Street. So I just want to make sure I got that correctly. F train. January 4th for the 7th, 11:45 p.m. Friday to 5 a.m. Monday. Coney Island bound F trains will be rerouted via the E after 36th Street to 4750th Street, Rockefeller Plaza. Use a Jamaica bound F train to complete your trip at 4750th Street or Roosevelt Avenue. For Lexington Avenue and 63rd Street, take the Q train or Jamaica bound F train via transfer at 4750th Street, Rockefeller Plaza. January 4th for the 7th, 9:45 p.m. Friday to 5 a.m. Monday. Uptown F trains will skip 14th Street and 23rd Street because of electrical improvements. To complete your trip, transfer to a downtown train at 34th Street, Herald Square. January 5th for the 7th, 12:01 a.m. Saturday to 5 a.m. Monday. F trains will be making local stops in both directions. Same with the E train. So once again, I quickly want to mention, if you are planning to take the E and the F train this weekend, E and F trains will be running local past Jackson Heights, Roosevelt Avenue, and between Manhattan. So once again, it's going to be local once you enter Manhattan from Queens, and it will turn local going westbound from Jackson Heights, Roosevelt Avenue. And I'm going to say this now. Very good on the MTA's part. This has to be done. No excuses when the M is going to be out of service again for another weekend. This is good. And if people are going to complain, too bad. Too bad. Local service is a necessity. And I'm going to mention this. If I want express service, I would just take the Long Island Railroad this weekend. So if you are being a little bit greedy and you have the extra cash, I would encourage you all, if you're seeking express service to Penn Station, just take the Long Island Railroad this weekend. That's all I'm going to say. On the G line, January 4th for the 7th, 9:30 p.m. Friday to 5 a.m. Monday. Free shuttle buses and F trains will be replacing G trains between Bedford Nostrand Avenue and Church Avenue because of station maintenance. G service will run between Court Square and Bedford Nostrand Avenue. Free shuttle buses will run between Bedford Nostrand Avenue and Schermerhorn Street and connect with J Street Metrotech where F service will be available. Use the F for service to and from Church Avenue in Brooklyn. Transfer at Bedford Nostrand Avenue and G Shuttle Bus and or J Street Metrotech. Chain work will officially end on Monday, January 7th, so I'm just going to quickly leave this information for you all right here. Do apologize. Not really appropriate to recap it because honestly we've been talking about it for the past couple of weeks. But I'll quickly reiterate the situation that we have track reconstruction between 121st Street and Jamaica Center. J trains will be available between Broad Street and 121st Street. You still have shuttle bus service available. You can transfer for service in Jamaica Van Wyck or 121st Street J train station. On the A line, we have to talk about some big headaches. January 5th for the 6th, 5:30 a.m. Saturday to 8 p.m. Sunday. Free shuttle buses and the Rockaway shuttle will replace A trains between Howard Beach and Far Rockaway Park because of track maintenance. A trains will run between 207th Street and Howard Beach. S shuttle will run between Rockaway Park and Far Rockaway every 20 minutes. Free shuttle buses will run along two routes. Non-stop between Howard Beach and Far Rockaway. Between Howard Beach and Rockaway Park, stopping at Broad Channel, Beach 98th Street, and Beach 105th Street. Transfer at Howard Beach JFK A train shuttle bus, Beach 98th Street shuttle bus, or Far Rockaway shuttle bus. Just want to also talk about shuttle plan work. January 5th for the 6th, 5:30 a.m. Saturday to 8 p.m. Sunday. Rockaway Park shuttle service at Broad Channel will be suspended because of track maintenance. The shuttle buses will be available. The shuttle will be running between Rockaway Park and Far Rockaway every 20 minutes. Transfer between trains and buses at Beach 98th Street or Far Rockaway. And once again, 42nd Street shuttle will run overnight, starting at 12:01 a.m. January 5th, which is Saturday, and lasting until 6 a.m. Monday, January 7th. Next up, we will talk about the brand new Long Island Railroad schedules starting on Monday, January 7th, which will bring more Amtrak headaches. Alright, so now we are at our second part of the video for our weekly service changes. And this is, of course, the new schedule going into effect on Monday, January 7th, 2019, and lasting until March 3rd, 2019, with, of course, the good news on my part is that my regular eastbound trains that are off-peak, the 211 and 256 trains that go to Long Beach with an express stop to Jamaica, have not been canceled. I always have to bring that up because since I am a regular user these days, it happens, but I'm only going to be at Penn Station once this month if you have heard the news in regards to what we're going to be doing for summits this month. But anyhow, let's go to the article that was posted on the MTA's website with the information on, once again, more Amtrak work. Long Island Railroad service will be modified starting on Monday, January 7th, 2019, as Amtrak, which owns and operates Penn Station, will be taking tracks out of service to perform the next phase of their critical track repairs. Work will initially focus on Track 18, which, deja vu, just like last year, which, once again, if you are familiar with Penn, most of the mainline trains do go to depart normally on Track 18, so that is an epic fail right there. The work will then shift to Track 17 and then to Track 16 around the end of March. So they're shifting the track work. It was only 2 tracks last year. Now it's going to be 3 tracks this year. Can't make this stuff up. This will result in Penn Station capacity will impact trains once again starting this Monday, January 7, 2019. 5 morning rush hour trains to New York Penn Station and 3 evening rush hours trains from Penn Station will be diverted. In addition, 2 evening rush hour trains will be combined with subsequent trains scheduled to depart within 6 to 11 minutes of a canceled train. The combined train will make stops at all affected stations. To reduce the impact of these changes, the Long Island Railroad is adding 2 extra morning trains and 3 afternoon evening trains, and is adding cars to select trains to increase seating capacity. In addition, MTA's East Side Access Work and Herald Interlocking, which will of course give additional service at Grand Central Terminal starting in 2022, will require further service reductions. Some trains will be departing earlier or will have alternate stopping patterns, but those changes will remain in effect only from January 7th through February 1st, 2019. So as you see here are the major service changes listed below. An extra AM peak train will depart Freeport at 5:43 a.m., stopping at Baldwin, Rockville Center, and Jamaica, and arriving at Penn Station at 6:24 a.m. 6:56 a.m. express train from Montauk, due to Penn Station at 7:43, will be rerouted to Atlantic Terminal, arriving at 7:45 a.m. with an add stop at Jamaica for connecting service. The current 7:44 a.m. train, a flyer that will leave from Merrick, stopping at Freeport, Baldwin, and Penn Station, will depart 3 minutes earlier at 7:41 a.m. and will terminate at Jamaica, where customers can board connecting trains to points west. 8:25 a.m. train from Freeport stopping at Baldwin, Rockville Center, Jamaica, and Penn Station will be rerouted to Atlantic Terminal in Brooklyn, arriving at 9:07 a.m., where customers can transfer to subway service on the 2 and the 3 line to go direct to Penn Station. The 6:10 p.m. train from Penn Station to Rockville Center, Baldwin, and Freeport will originate at Atlantic Terminal at 6:10 a.m. and add an additional stop at Jamaica at 6:30 p.m. This will occur between January 7th through Friday, February 1st. Oh, my bad. Friday, February 1st. Right, I got that date right. Because I know the 2nd I have plans that day. Customers from Penn Station can take the 6:08 p.m. train to Huntington and transfer at Jamaica for connecting service. The 6:03... Right, my bad. Let me make sure this is correct. 6:33, my bad. Because my headphones was going crazy over here because I'm going to reduce the noise. 6:33 p.m. train from Penn Station to Babylon will be canceled and combined with a 6:36 p.m. train from Penn Station, which will be extended to Babylon, making all local stops once again taking place Monday, January 7th through Friday, February 1st. And lastly, an extra PM peak train will depart Hunters Point Avenue at 7:02 p.m., stopping at Jamaica, Rockville Center, and Freeport, arriving at 7:42 p.m. So this is a very in-depth, long list, but this is going to be impressive to even take a look at. On the Far Rockaway branch, 8:10 a.m. westbound train from Far Rockaway to Penn Station will be canceled. The next scheduled train to Penn Station will depart Far Rockaway at 8:21 a.m. or consider using the 7:49 train from Far Rockaway. The 5:32 p.m. peak train from Penn Station due to Far Rockaway at 6:24 will instead originate at Jamaica at 5:52 p.m. Customers will have to take an eastbound train at Penn Station, which will be the 5:23 p.m. train to Long Beach or the 5:24 p.m. train to Freeport, and will have to change at Jamaica for connecting service to Far Rockaway. 5:53 p.m. westbound off-peak train from Far Rockaway to Penn Station will be rerouted to Atlantic Terminal in Brooklyn instead of Penn Station. Customers can transfer at Jamaica for connecting service to Penn Station or transfer to the 2 and the 3 train at Atlantic Terminal in Brooklyn for connecting service at Penn Station. 2 trains on the Hempstead branch. There will be 2 eastbound trains affected by this. 5:38 p.m. train from Penn Station due to Huntington at 6:36 p.m. will instead originate from Atlantic Terminal at 5:46 p.m. Customers at Penn Station can take the 5:36 p.m. train to Hicksville and change at Jamaica for connecting service to Hempstead. 7:05 train from Penn Station due to Hempstead at 7:56 will instead originate from Atlantic Terminal at 7:09 p.m. Customers at Penn Station can take the 7:08 train to Babylon and transfer at Jamaica for connecting service to Hempstead. Or, once again, the other alternative is taking the 203 train to Atlantic Terminal, Brooklyn, to make direct connection. On the Long Beach branch, only one train is affected. 8:03 a.m. train from Long Beach to Penn Station will be rerouted to Atlantic Terminal at 8:54 a.m. with an add stop at Jamaica for connecting service. Or, once again, you do have the 2 and the 3 train in Atlantic Terminal. I also want to quickly mention, if you are impacted, you can transfer to the E train at Sutphin and Archer and go to Penn Station that way. Just want to quickly bring that up. Now let's just review this for a second. See, this is such a long list. I mean, this is just crazy. I have never seen anything like this before. This is going to be a winter of hell. It's starting on Monday. Wow. Alright, service changes both on the Oyster Bay and Montauk branch will be in effect from January 7th through February 1st. 2 trains, 5:30 a.m. train from Spionek due to Long Island City will terminate in Jamaica. The next scheduled train to Hunters Point Avenue in Long Island City will depart Jamaica at 7:23 a.m. The 5:39 a.m. train from Montauk to Long Island City will terminate in Jamaica. The next scheduled train to Hunters Point Avenue will depart Jamaica at 8:25 a.m., which will make an added stop at Long Island City. On the Oyster Bay branch, 4:59 p.m. train from Hunters Point Avenue will depart 2 minutes earlier at 4:57. 6:16 train from Penn will depart 2 minutes earlier at 6:14. 6:41 peak from Hunters Point will depart 2 minutes earlier at 6:39. On the Port Jefferson branch, 4:31 p.m. peak train from Penn Station to Huntington will depart 2 minutes earlier at 4:29 p.m. in effect from January 7th through February 1st. 5:06 express from Penn stopping at Syosset, Cold Spring Harbor, and Huntington will be canceled and combined with a 5:17 p.m. train from Penn Station, which will run express to Westbury, then stops at Hicksville, Syosset, Cold Spring Harbor, and Huntington. 5:33 p.m. train from Penn Station to Hicksville will be extended with added stops at Syosset and Cold Spring Harbor. 6:07 train from Long Island City to Port Jefferson will have an added stop at Huntington. On the Port Jefferson and Ronkonkoma branches, this is going to be interesting to read all of this. An extra train will depart Penn Station at 3:40 p.m. stopping at Woodside, making all local stops to Great Neck. So it looks like the good news is this train will be stopping at Broadway, Murray Hill, and Auburndale. So that's excellent news on that front over there. 5:50 p.m. peak train from Penn due to Great Neck at 6:19 will be canceled and combined with the 5:56 p.m. train to Port Washington, which will make all local stops to Great Neck. So once again, that's good news. That is excellent news for those people over there on the Port Washington branch, especially my people in Northeast Queens. So that's excellent. Extra service at Murray Hill, Broadway, and Auburndale. It's very good. Okay, now we have to read through all of this, which is going to be insane. 6:31 off-peak train from Penn to Port Washington will not... Okay, just keeping in mind, I'll only say it once. This will only be in effect from January 7th through February 1st. So let's reread this again. 6:31 a.m. off-peak train from Penn to Port Washington will not start at Douglaston. 8:21 off-peak train from Penn to Port Washington will depart 2 minutes earlier at 8:19 a.m. 7:55 a.m. off-peak train from Penn to Port Washington will not stop at Murray Hill. 8:51 a.m. off-peak train from Penn Station to Port Washington will not stop at Auburndale. 3:18 p.m. off-peak train from Penn to Port Washington will not stop at Little Neck. 3:49 p.m. off-peak train from Penn to Port Washington will not stop at Flushing Main Street. Wow, that is interesting. Let's continue. 4:22 p.m. peak train from Penn Station to Port Washington will not stop at Plain Dome. 4:33 peak train from Penn to Port Washington will not stop at Manhasset. 6:10 p.m. peak train from Penn Station to Port Washington will depart 2 minutes earlier at 6:09. 6:14 p.m. peak train from Penn Station to Great Neck will depart 2 minutes earlier at 6:12. The 6:24 p.m. peak train from Penn Station to Port Washington will depart 2 minutes earlier at 6:22. The 7:01 p.m. peak train from Penn Station to Port Washington will depart 2 minutes earlier at 6:59. The 7:27 p.m. peak train from Penn to Port Washington will depart 2 minutes earlier at 7:25 p.m. So once again, all these changes right here on the Port Washington branch will be in effect from January 7th through February 1st. Figured I'd be nice to everybody to start off the new year. Alright, so last but not least, the Ronkonkoma branch. 2 extra AM peak trains. Oh, my bad. Only 1 extra AM peak train. It will depart Farmingdale at 5:12 a.m., stopping at Bethpage 5:16 a.m., Hicksville 5:22 a.m., Mineola 5:37 a.m., and Jamaica at 5:46 a.m., and will arrive at Penn Station at 6:05 a.m. An extra train will depart Penn Station at 1:42 p.m., stopping at Woodside, Jamaica, Mineola, Hicksville, Bethpage, then local stops to Ronkonkoma, arriving at 3:07 p.m. 6:21 p.m. peak train from Penn Station to Ronkonkoma will depart earlier at 6:19 p.m., January 7th through February 1st. Other temporary schedule adjustments starting on January 7th. Huntington, Port Jefferson, and Oyster Bay branches, on overnights and weekends, one of 2 tracks along the main line between New Hyde Park and Carl Place will be out of service to allow for work on the main line extension project between Floral Park and Hicksville. Some westbound trains from Huntington will depart 8 minutes later than usual, while some eastbound trains will depart between 5 minutes earlier and 3 minutes later. Westbound Oyster Bay trains will depart up to 19 minutes earlier. On weekends, this is going to be interesting. I'm going to have to bring this up if the railroad does have any information. If there's any developments, I will let you know on the Ronkonkoma branch. On weekends, concrete tie installation and signal testing will take place on the Ronkonkoma branch between Bethpage and Wyandanch. Westbound Saturday, Sunday Ronkonkoma trains will depart 5 minutes later. So, one last note before we wrap up this video. Travel tips again, you can use 2 to 3 subway lines to travel between Atlantic Terminal and Penn Station. You can also use the 4, 5, B, D, and Q R line subway for travel between Atlantic Terminal and Manhattan. You can use a 7 for service in Hunters Point Avenue for service to Midtown Manhattan. You should ride during the shoulder of peak travel periods, the start or end, for greater seat availability. I would also recommend please try to ride off peak. And more importantly, sign up for email alerts, text messages, mymtaalerts.com, or you can use the Long Island Railroad's Train Time app. So with that being all said, that's going to wrap up this video. I will leave this article in the description below. So that's very important that if you do want to read this for yourself, you can take a look at that. But once again, the schedules will be in effect starting this Monday, January 7, 2019 until March 3rd, 2019. I quickly want to check to see a little bit off topic, but I know for a fact we were supposed to have a brand new schedule on the Q46 starting on Monday. Let's see if that has been confirmed at the moment. We're going to take a look together. Unfortunately, once again, we do not have the new bus schedule for the Q46. So I don't know if we're still going to be on the same September schedule. That's going to have to be hopefully posted during the weekend. So with that being all said, thank you all for watching. Until the next one, please take care.